In 1930, America was drowning in the shadow of the Great Depression. Businesses were collapsing, banks were shutting down, and millions were unemployed. And yet, in the midst of it all, Cadillac unveiled a car so luxurious, no one could believe it was real. The Cadillac V16, the world's first production car powered by a V16 engine. Nearly 20 feet long, its interior featured ebony wood, real leather, and even hand-carved gold accents. Its price was equivalent to hundreds of thousands of dollars today. But what made it legendary wasn't just the opulence. It was how the car embodied the American dream. The belief that even when the world falls apart, we can still build something extraordinary. In this video, we'll uncover the shocking truth about the Cadillac V16. From its bold beginnings and ahead-of-its-time technology to the reason why this dream ultimately came to an end. By the late 1920s, Cadillac was dominating the American luxury car market. But across the Atlantic, names like Rolls-Royce, Hispano-Suiza, and Isotta Fraschini were capturing the attention of wealthy Americans. They didn't just want power, they wanted something truly special. General Motors understood this well. And in 1926, Cadillac quietly began a top-secret project to build the greatest luxury car America had ever seen. A machine not just for transportation, but for projecting power. The project lasted 4 years. While Ford was still perfecting the Model A, Cadillac was secretly developing the world's first production V16 engine, something no one believed could be commercially viable. But its debut came at the worst possible moment. January 1930, just months after the stock market crash that triggered the Great Depression. Even so, when the Cadillac V16 was unveiled at the New York Auto Show, it stunned the world. It wasn't the size or the luxury that left engineers in awe. It was the engine hidden beneath that elongated hood, a 16-cylinder machine arranged in a 45-degree V with a displacement of 452 cubic inches. This was the world's first production V16 engine, designed by engineer Owen Nacker and his development team at GM. They weren't just chasing horsepower, they were pursuing absolute smoothness, and they achieved it. The engine used an overhead valve setup paired with 2 carburetors and dual exhaust manifolds for each bank of cylinders. The output reached about 165 horsepower, an unbelievable figure for 1930. But more importantly, it ran with almost no vibration, smoother than any V8 or inline-6 of its time. Even at high speeds, this ultra-luxury sedan maintained a staggering level of quiet. Many described it not as roaring to life, but simply breathing. With twin ignition systems, dual fuel pumps, and perfectly balanced internals, this engine became a true marvel of mechanical engineering. But that marvel wouldn't leave a mark without a body that matched. Something that could stun at first sight. The exterior of the 16-cylinder sedan wasn't just designed, it was sculpted into rolling art. While the chassis came from Cadillac, the bodies were handcrafted by master artisans at Fleetwood and Fisher. Each car was a bespoke creation, no duplicates. Over 70 styles were built, ranging from sporty coupes to open-top feuilletons and discreet limousines. Each measured nearly 20 feet long, with an elongated hood to house the massive engine, creating a silhouette both elegant and commanding. Inside, craftsmanship met engineering in perfect harmony. African ebony dashboards, gleaming chrome handles, hand-stitched leather, and wool carpets weren't just luxurious, they transported passengers into another world. Unlike today's luxury cars that follow templates, These machines carried deep personal expression. Every stitch, every color, every curve reflected the owner's exact taste and stature. From the moment it debuted, this 16-cylinder marvel captured the attention of society's elite. Oil tycoons, mob bosses, Hollywood stars, even royalty. King Edward VIII had at least two in his collection. Al Capone owned a bulletproof limousine version with armored glass. In India, Maharajas commissioned gold-plated convertibles with rear seating for their attendants, and sometimes even elephants. In America, it became the car of choice for steel barons, railroad magnates, and banking giants. Individuals who didn't just have money, but needed to show they weren't like anyone else. Unlike the flashier Duesenbergs, this luxury ride was considered the more refined option, for those who knew that true class spoke through silence and precision. On the silver screen, it was the ultimate symbol, featured in gangster epics and grand depictions of 1930s New York. No dialogue was needed. One glimpse of the car gliding past told you exactly who was inside. And while there were many luxury vehicles at the time, none delivered the same presence. Its near-silent smoothness, understated opulence, and deeply personal customization made it a dream that only a privileged few ever experienced. But no matter how prestigious, even the finest luxury car couldn't escape the harsh realities of the time. After a dazzling debut, sales began to plummet. And the reason wasn't quality, it was the collapsing economy. Starting in 1931, America sank deeper into the Great Depression. Millions were unemployed, and thousands of businesses were shutting down every month. Even the wealthy began cutting back on extravagance to avoid public scrutiny. A V16 model back then cost between $5,000 and $7,000, the equivalent of $90,000 to $150,000 today. Meanwhile, a Ford Model A could be had for under $500. With such a price gap, it's no surprise that the 16-cylinder became a luxury relic in a world focused on survival. Cadillac had no choice but to adapt, building only to order, scaling back public displays, and focusing on select clients. Remaining sales were largely to heads of state, embassies, or wealthy landowners in South America and Asia, regions less affected by the economic collapse. From over 2,500 units sold in 1930, the numbers dropped to just a few hundred per year. Despite an unfavorable market, Cadillac hadn't given up on the 16-cylinder dream. In 1938, the company introduced an entirely new version, the Series 90, hoping to breathe new life into its flagship offering. Unlike the first generation, the new model featured a completely redesigned V16. Now, with a 135-degree cylinder angle, reduced displacement at 431 cubic inches, and a flathead layout instead of overhead valves. While output increased slightly to around 185 horsepower, the real advantages were easier manufacturing and a more compact engine bay. The Series 90 also embraced a radically new design language, following the aerodynamic trends of the late 1930s. The grille was more slanted, fenders more integrated, and the body showed clear influence from modern streamlined styling. The interior remained luxurious, though slightly simplified to match evolving tastes. Cadillac envisioned this model as the worth-every-dollar option for a new wave of upper-class buyers, those who still desired elegance but preferred discretion in an era of frugality. However, the market had shifted too far. Only 315 units were produced in 1938, 138 in 1939, and just 51 final cars in 1938, 1940. Its end wasn't just due to historical events, but also the very design philosophy that once made it legendary. First, there was the issue of cost. These vehicles were too complex for mass production. Each body was handcrafted, and the massive engine required many unique parts, making it impossible to reduce prices. Meanwhile, V8s were getting stronger and cheaper, making a 16-cylinder engine feel excessive. Second, consumer demand shifted. The new generation of wealthy buyers didn't prioritize heavy extravagance. They wanted modernity, comfort, and flexibility. Things a nearly 20-foot-long, 6,000-pound sedan struggled to provide. Finally came the war. When the US entered World War II, the entire auto industry shifted to military production. Luxury models were halted, and when peace returned, their era had passed. Cadillac understood. After 1940, the brand never revisited the 16-cylinder idea. New generations of V8s rose to power, faster, lighter, more efficient, and better aligned with the post-war American dream. The end didn't come as a failure, but as the inevitable evolution of an industry moving forward. Over 80 years later, the 16-cylinder sedans remain the holy grail of classic car collecting, not just because of their rarity, but because each car captures a vivid slice of an era when America believed anything was possible. Only about 4,000 units were ever built over 11 years, split across 2 generations. But thanks to their high value and careful preservation, many surviving examples are still in excellent condition, often seen at prestigious events like the Pebble Beach Concours d'Elegance or Amelia Island. Some rare models, such as the 1930 Phaeton, 1933 aerodynamic coupe, or the one-off Swiss-built Hartmann version, have sold for over $1 million at auction. Yet for seasoned collectors, the true value lies in the history and emotion the car evokes. Dedicated clubs and enthusiasts continue to keep the V16 spirit alive, from the Cadillac LaSalle Club in the US to private collectors in Europe, Japan, and India. Auction houses like R.M. Sotheby's and Gooding & Company regularly feature these vehicles, fostering a global community of admiration. What's most remarkable is that unlike many classics that exist only for display, these V16s are still driven and enjoyed. That whisper-quiet startup still hushes crowds, stirring the soul like a long-lost symphony rediscovered. But if we were to highlight the most iconic, we'd begin with the 1930 Sport Phaeton, the car that launched the V16 era. With its two-tone paint, luxurious wood interior, and beautifully balanced proportions, it often appeared alongside Hollywood stars on the grand boulevards of the day. Just a few years later, Cadillac shocked the world again with the 1933 aerodynamic coupe, a sleek fastback that was nearly a decade ahead of its time. Slanted grille, recessed headlights, smooth flowing lines, this wasn't just a car, it was a bold vision of the future. Then came the 1937 Town Car, a jaw-dropping creation made for a Maharaja of India. With gold leaf interior, a separate chauffeur's compartment, and regal detailing throughout, it was royalty on wheels, a mobile throne room in every sense. One can't overlook the 1938 Series 90 convertible sedan, part of the final generation. Its streamlined body and refined silhouette embodied Cadillac's push to modernize during the late 1930s. And at the end stood the 1940 V16 limousine, the last of its kind to roll off the production line. Without fanfare, it quietly marked the end of a glorious chapter. Looking back at the journey of the 16-cylinder sedan, we don't just see a car, we see a philosophy. In a time of chaos and uncertainty, America once had the faith and ambition to create something beyond convention. This machine wasn't built to please the masses, nor to maximize profits. It was built to prove that even in the depths of crisis, there were still those brave enough to do what no one else would. The Cadillac V16 stands as a symbol of a nation that once asked, if not now, then when? If not us, then who? Today, in a world of lookalike SUVs and soulless sedans, it remains a powerful reminder that sometimes true value lies not in the numbers, but in the vision. The Cadillac V16 wasn't just a car, it was living proof of a time when America dared to dream big, to push boundaries, and to put absolute faith in engineering. From the whispering roar of its engine to the hand-sculpted curves of its body, everything about it embodied timeless elegance. A legacy not only cherished by collectors, but admired by anyone who loves cars. If you've ever seen one in person, or have a story connected to this legendary 16-cylinder machine, we'd love to hear it in the comments. And if you believe that engineering dreams like this deserve to be remembered, hit that like button, subscribe, and ring the bell so you won't miss the next story about the forgotten legends of automotive history.